call this order the meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council. Would you please stand for the invocation and the pledge? Key, please.
Dear Lord, we give you praise and we thank you for all the blessings that you bestowed upon us. We thank you, my Father, for the team that we have in place. We thank you for our attorney, our city attorney, our city manager, secretary, and all the ones that are working so endlessly with much energy, my Father, to take the city of Aransas Pass forward, my Father. Pray, Lord, that you guide them on what is best for our city. Ask your blessing upon us, the city council, and we also ask that you be with our mayor that's in Austin, my Father. You open doors, you give him the words that he needs in order to represent Aransas Pass and make it known to what is needed for our country and our city. This we ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we move on to presentations and proclamations, and we will start off with a presentation of our annual audit report ending September 30, 2018 by Brenda McElwee.
Well, thanks for having me. I don't know if you all noticed or not, but this year the audit is out way early, so we
Yes, yay!
Kudos.
Sandra and her team.
Great job.
Yes,
Thank you.
I tell you what, it's been a long time getting to this point, but I'm so proud that we were finally able to do that, and I feel like we're in a groove. I feel like we've got something going on, so it's like, yeah, we've got some more things we're working on, but anyway, it was very good. So the audit before you is the audit of a financial audit for the fiscal year in 9/30/18. It's an unmodified opinion, which means it's a clean opinion. So my opinion of the financial statements as are presented are there's no modifications necessary. I can bore you to death, but I won't. But what I want to just point out is that your general fund balance increased significantly from last year. And that's really good news. But even better news is the overall net position of the city also increased. So it wasn't just a general fund shell game shifting from one fund to the other fund. The whole citywide, your net position increased. So the city's in really good financial shape. And again, I don't have any bad news at this point. I really don't. So that's good news. I want to point out that with the federal monies that the city has received with regards to FEMA and also the drug forfeiture monies, you're required to have a single audit. And what that means is if you receive federal monies in excess of if you spend federal monies that you received in excess of $750,000, then you're required to have a single audit. That's going to be forthcoming in another next meeting. I think you're going to have something in your packet to look at because that's going to be another engagement that we're going to have to do. So that's still yet to be done. I can't think of anything else to tell you at this point unless you want me to start reading numbers.
No.
No.
One,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, I kind of scanned through it and I thought, wow, this looks a whole lot better than last year.
It does. It really does. And you know, I think the city is doing really well. The leadership that you have with your city manager, the council, and Sandra's doing a good job. So, what more can I say?
Thank you very much. Wow.
Thank you, Ross.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go back to
Yay! Yay! Good news for Aransas Pass. Whee!
Okay.
Thank goodness.
Now we go to the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda.
Proclamation.
Oh, proclamation. Oh, excuse me. I was trying to skip that one. Okay. There we go. Proclamation, April Fair Housing Month. Whereas Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States, and whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all Americans, and whereas the National Fair Housing Law during the month of April provides an opportunity for all Americans to recognize The complete success in the goal of equal housing opportunity can only be accomplished with the help and cooperation of all Americans. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Aransas Pass, do proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in the City of Aransas Pass, and do hereby urge all the citizens of this locality to become aware of and support the Fair Housing Law, passed and adopted by the City Council of Aransas Pass, San Patricio, Aransas County, State of Texas, on the first day of April 2019. Okay, that takes care of that one. All right. Now we go to the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the council and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests. If discussion is desired, then that item will be removed from the consent agenda and be considered separately. What is the favor of the council?
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we go to the city manager. Gary?
Yes, the next three items are all related to the Colonia Construction Grant, Fund Grant, and as a matter of fact, we have someone in the audience from Grant Works who can answer any questions. But these are required issues that we have to address in order to obtain the grant. So these are, you're being asked to act on them accordingly. Did you want to say anything, add to it?
What I have in us is GrantWorks. Just these are routine, as you mentioned, and it also includes the proclamation that you discussed on item 3. It's part of the citizen participation packet.
Any other questions? Favor of the council?
I think a motion has to be made, right?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve Community Development Block Grant 20-2018 Colonial Construction Fund by the city, resolution number 2019-883 by the City of Aransas Pass, designating authorized signatories for contractual documents and documents for requesting funds pertaining to the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. Contract number 7218175 and 7218185.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, the next item related to the same issue, related to civil rights, and simply needs your approval to move forward. And again, it hasn't been mentioned, but this is related to infrastructure in an area of town where we don't have infrastructure right now. So much needed, but this civil rights document and language is also needed to continue to pursue the grant, which we already have the grant, but as part of the grant.
It's kind of like a housekeeping deal.
It's a housekeeping issue, yeah, absolutely.
What's the favor of the council?
But the motion is only the small one, the consider and act on the resolution number 2019-884
yes.
by the City of Aransas Pass approving the Community Development Block Grant Civil Rights Policies.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, ditto.
Okay, all right. Well, what's the favor of the council on this one?
Can we do like 3 and 4 at the same time, since it's basic, or do you consider them separately?
You need to consider them
Oh,
separately.
yeah, I've got the other
Yes.
one, yeah, okay.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the citizen participation plan for the Texas GLO Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, this next item is something you do virtually every year, I believe, and it's an agreement with San Patricio County. It was brought to our attention by Commissioner Howard Gillespie, and it agrees to allow us to participate in a street improvement program provided by the county. Of course, we've got to come up with the funds, and only if we choose to do so. But it opens up a door for some reduced costs for street repairs within our city, if you so agree.
Well, what is the favor of the council?
Well, make a motion that we approve resolution number 2019-885, approval an interlocal agreement with the San Patricio County.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, this next item is of interest. La Nina, the ship that is over at Corpus Christi, is going to be repaired and renovated, actually in our area, within the city limits at one of the boat ship repair areas, businesses that we have. The city of Corpus Christi is willing to let us have it, that particular ship, for display to the public. There'll be no cost to the city on the renovation, and we sent a letter recently, and this is retroactive in a sense, but we had to get the letter out for a deadline. But it is showing interest in that particular ship, but we said if it stays in the water, it's going to be more maintenance, so we are suggesting that it be on land but still available for touring, and by that time that it's located on land, it will be renovated. Will there be additional maintenance costs? Yes, there will be in the future. But it's something that we could also get some either grant or donation dollars for those purposes. And Jan, you were Councilwoman Moore. You toured the ship. I didn't know if you had any comments or not.
I was kind of surprised to see that it was in really, I expected it in much more disrepair, but I think keeping it in the water long-term is going to be very expensive to the city. And I was the one who suggested, could we put it up on land as a museum? She has said that they have a lot of interest from schools that tour it and do Columbus Day out on it. They've also had jazz nights out on it and had, a park concert and stuff like that. But being in the water, it's they can't afford to keep it in the water. So I don't know if they're even going to accept our proposal to put it up on land. They may want it because the statement from the lady with the La Nina organization was, well, it's very saleable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, saleable is one thing, but we don't have the money to sail it. And so if we're going to put it on land and they'll give it to us, and they have someone who is willing to give us the money to restore it, that's good.
And I think the money to restore is there, is my understanding. That's
yep,
my understanding.
yes.
Rosemary, anything to add to that?
Yes, they had, since our request for interest, they had a philanthropist come in and say that if we took that ship, there was someone who wanted us the ship to stay local. They had passion for the area and wanted it to stay local, so they would agree to repair the ship and restore it back to where it was. We did realize when we were there that the hull had been restored in 2014, and it's being restored again, which means that it would need that kind of maintenance every 5 years. So that was something we hesitated about. But keeping it on land, like Jan said, and putting it on a platform would keep it in its pristine shape, and we would be able to allow for tourists to come in and see it. And in addition to that, it's an attraction in itself. It'll enhance the Seaman Memorial Tower where it's at, be more of a museum area. It also came with some additional materials. There were some layouts of the different Nina ships, the other ships that were there, and they would give all of that to us so we could use it as a museum for educational purposes. So we'll just have to see how that goes.
And the idea of keeping it up on land really came from my husband, because we were up in Galveston and they have a submarine up on land. Mm-hmm. And they put it on land because they said it was too expensive to keep it in the water as a museum.
In addition to that, we talked about the liability of having it in the water and having tourists get on it, and that
Yep.
would increase insurance for us,
Yep.
where it would be,
Freeport has the shrimp boat mystery on the traffic island.
Oh, I'll be darned.
Okay, so what's the cost for us? I know it's not gonna be, they're gonna repair it, but what's the city going to?
so,
Go ahead.
right now, there is no cost for us. They will move it. They'll pay for it to be moved. They're gonna pay for it to be fixed. The philanthropist will. The only cost that we will incur is additional maintenance when we take it on and have to restore it every year. We did submit a letter and ask for some kind of idea of what that costs them. I'm not sure what it costs them, because right now, nobody's really taking care of it. So
I don't know if they're gonna have an answer to that question.
Okay, so what's gonna be the cost for station building? It has to be some kind of cost involved for the city to build, you just can't just put it there. There's gotta be some things, so I'm just,
That-
anybody look at it, maybe.
That's going to
be
take
there?
research work
Exactly.
before the finalization, and do not have an answer for you on that. That's going to take some engineering.
Yeah, it's gonna take
to do that.
design and all that.
Yes.
Yep.
Is the chamber willing to help the city with those costs?
And that may be something that the philanthropists will also kick in for, because as far as we're concerned right now, they are in all 100% to get that ship back to where it was.
They don't want it destroyed.
Could the chamber help with some of the
I
costs?
don't have the authority to say
Okay,
that
I'm
right
just
now.
saying, you know, 'cause it's-
Once you,
Yeah, I can't
would you
make
take
that
it back to the
decision
board
for
to
that.
consider?
It depends on what it costs. Remember, we're also a nonprofit, and all we do all year is raise money to keep our doors open. So taking on that kind of expense, I don't know that they will or won't, but I can take it back as soon as we find out what that cost is.
And we need to find out if they're even acceptable to putting it up on land,
Right,
rather than,
right.
Yeah.
because she wanted it in the
Right, that was the chairman of
Yeah,
their
they've not
commission.
answered our question, and we
Yeah.
sent that specific
Yes, we
question
did
to
send that,
them,
mhm.
so.
So,
So it just, all this is doing is just a letter of interest, and there's much more, as Vicki and Jan and Bill and Carrie have all said. We need to find out more, and we will do that, but we need to show that interest at this point. Am I correct on that?
Right, that's all we're doing right
Yep,
now is
showing
showing interest, yeah.
well, what is the favor of the council?
we don't have to do anything.
It says, yeah, we need to act on it.
Yeah, if you would, that puts the stamp of authority, that the letter of interest has your support also, is all that it does.
So,
Yeah, it's a consider an act.
I will make a motion to consider an act to
Express interest?
express interest in accepting the La Nina ship from City of Corpus Christi.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just interest, I might not go for it.
That's all it is, interest.
Okay.
If it's money, we can't afford it. We have too much else going on.
Doesn't cost anything to be interested.
Exactly.
Sometimes it does.
The last, I'm sorry, didn't want to interrupt you.
Nope.
The last item is 7.6, and let me pull that up, I'm sorry. Simply asking to go out to, for RFP on fireworks. You heard an available date from one company, and want to see if we can get what the price is. Yeah, exactly. So that's all we're asking you to do, is approve us going out for an RFP for pricing.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we go out for request for proposals for the 2019 Independence Celebration Firework Display to be held at Community Park.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next. Community enrichment. Okay, this would be Sarah.
Good evening, how are y'all? The first item I have for you all this evening is a request for a sponsorship for the Group Oranges Pass for Use to use our pool for 6 days during the summer months at a discounted rate. I will let you know that this has been something that has come before y'all before. They are asking for it at a discounted rate of $2 per swimmer. So you have all that information in front of you, as well as a request from the group, and there's also a couple people here from the group. So do y'all have any questions about that?
That's what we charged them last year, correct?
We actually charged them
Last year was
$3 last year.
$3?
And they're requesting $2 this year.
I'll make a motion that we grant their request for the AP for Youth for the use of the pool for 6 days during the summer season at a discount rate of $2 per swim.
Okay, thank you. And the next one I have before you,
Wait,
oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Second.
We need to pass this?
Yeah.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
too fast, Sarah.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
sorry.
All right, fire away, Sarah. Next.
Look, I was trying to be fast, okay? Okay, the next agenda item I have for you all of this evening is a change order. It's change order number 1 for the Aquatic Center. And I will tell you what it is. It wasn't included in the original scope of work. It is repairs to 6 canopies and then a shade structure over the slide. So that work order is in front of you. This was not included in the scope of work from the engineering firm and the contractor, but it was included in the original site inspection. So it is included on our DDD with FEMA, and it will be covered at 90% by FEMA.
So is this really a change order, or is this a
Well, it's
new
a-
contract?
Just
It-
an oversight.
It's not, it was an oversight, so it is a change order with the contractor. Because we're still under contract with them. That's,
You're okay with that, Roxanne? Because there was a lot of discussion over it last time.
well, this is not additional, I mean, it's additional work that's being done, but we're not near completion on this project.
Correct,
So it's
I
a
know
change
that.
order to the work they're doing on the contract. From what I believe, after we had a discussion after the last time, this is an actual change order.
Okay.
And I will tell you that right after the storm, we went out for bids on this. We were starting to go out for bids on this because we kind of wanted it done. And their price point is within $1,000 of what I got quoted in April of 2018. And that didn't include one of the shade structures. So the price was pretty, I mean, I thought it was very accurate to what it should be.
Is this work we requested?
I'm sorry?
Is this work we requested?
No, this is work that, well, we requested the work, but this is stuff that's going to be done, that's,
I know, but we requested it.
yes, we requested this, yes.
Okay,
Because it was not included, yes.
okay.
It needs to be, the shade structures are, need to be replaced and brought back to what they were.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the change order number 1 for Aquatic Center project.
Second.
All in favor?
Should it say not to exceed the $1355.60? Oh, with $13,551.60.
Okay, so, I make a motion that we approve the change order number 1 for the Aquatic Center project to Barcom Construction for the total of $13,551.60.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Okay, now we move on to finance.
Hi,
Hello,
good
Sandra.
evening. How are you guys? Today we have Renee. I'm here presenting, Renee's gonna get into the item for the wood carvers for the hotel motel tax. All right, go ahead.
Renee, I'll pass it down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The motels, motel, and the Hawthorne.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This year, I've taken on the role as the commissioner of the Hotel Occupancy Tax Committee, Advisory Committee. So, taking that on, I've looked at some of what the history of what we've done before. I've actually taken on a couple of requests already so far. And the community and I have had some concerns that have just come up over time that we want to make sure that what we're doing is effective. So in order for that to happen, I'm trying to help add structure to what we have going on. So something that we see that's happening a lot, or that I've seen a lot that's happening, is there's requests coming in, but they're not being justified correctly because I don't think people understand what hotel occupancy taxes can be used for. So then we had Gary go into that, make sure we knew what they should be used for. And basically what it all boils down to is what we call in the industry is how are we going to put heads in beds, right? So coming from a business angle, and I'm not just speaking for my hotels, I have to look out for every single hotel in the city. So when that happens and we start seeing these events come up and requesting money, I've seen some of those events affect my hotel, but not all the hotels. I can't replenish all the hotel occupancy tax myself. I just don't have enough rooms. So what ended up happening is in the midst of these requests, I wanted to try figuring out a structure, a science, per se, to make this something that when we're looking at it, does this make dollars and cents like a businessman, right? So what we did here is we looked at a simple request. If you see guys up there, I have a request for example of $9,500, okay? The hotel occupancy tax rate in this city is 6.5%. So every guest that comes into this hotel, to this city is gonna pay 6.5% on top of the rate that we're charging to come here into the hotel occupancy tax, okay? At $9,500, we would have to make $150,000 in room revenue to make back that $9,500, which would bring back actually $99,750 with a $250 profit. Because I do believe we should put back and some, right? Even though it might be just $250, let's say that we covered our bases here. So at $150,000 in revenue, in room revenue, what does that break down into nights? How many nights is that? Like, how many room nights does that equate to? So I came up with a figure based on what I see at my hotel and what I see kind of in the market. Now this figure, the $65 rate that I got for an average dollar rate, which means that on average in the city, if you took all the prices that we pay throughout the year, off season and on season, you have about roughly a $65 rate from the Marriott down to the little motels. If you put all of our rates together, I believe, now there's a way to really fine tune this and really see what the taxes say and see if we can figure out a better number. But I think that we're right around a $65 ADR. If you take that and divide that into how many $150,000, that's over 2,300 room nights.
We don't have it.
You don't do that. I don't know what events you guys are having. Unless Billy Joel's coming to town.
Hey.
That's not going to happen in a weekend.
We don't have those rooms anyway.
Right.
Right. It just doesn't happen. And 2,300 room nights, you got to think of it, one room can stay 4 nights. So even if you divided it into a 4-day weekend, with 2,300 rooms into one weekend or one event, this is starting to sound really impractical. So when people are requesting money from us, and I'm sitting at a table with my committee as well, I need them to see it at a science. Because we're just looking at it as numbers and what they're doing and what they're bringing, which is not right either. I have had so many times people come to a meeting and say, hey, we brought $150,000 into the community. Well, how does that break down? Well, we had 500 rooms in the RV parks, 230 rooms in the hotels. We brought all these people into the restaurants. But that does not put heads in beds, right? So how are we replenishing? What's my ROI? And that was the angle that I came at it with this formula. So when, as a board, or when it comes from me to here, or from our committee to here, we want to make sure that we're looking at it at this science level. Like, is this making dollars and cents again, right? And we don't want to shun people away either. Like, hey, don't come and bring your event to our community. But let's be more practical about what the money you should be getting. And let's advise them correctly where you can find maybe that money. But us paying your bills for T-shirts and stuff like that, I don't know how many times a person's got a hotel room reservation because they saw it on a T-shirt sometimes. So these are the things that we're looking at. And if we don't have that structure, we don't have a formula like this, it's just not going to be practical anymore. And I want to make sure that we're getting with everyone and anyone that's coming to us, we give them real numbers. We're not going to help you. We're going to help you, but we're going to be really realistic about the numbers too. So that's why I just wanted to bring to the forefront, and knowing that going on forward, everyone can use that formula here.
Well, I have to say I'm greatly impressed because you're the first
I
one
agree.
that's I've seen while I've been in on the council that's ever given any kind of an explanation. So thank you for bringing us up to par on this information and giving us real facts and putting these numbers in front of us.
Thank you.
I greatly appreciate that.
I don't want to be stuck in. We don't want to be stuck in this situation because we see great events. We have vets for vets.
Yes.
There's so many great events coming, but we don't want you to feel that this is not the community that's not going to welcome you just because we can't give you that money.
Exactly.
But if it's that right marketing money.
I like how you said we have to be practical.
Yeah,
we do get asked as a city.
Because we don't have a lot there too, and we also know what else the hotel occupancy tax pays for. Right? So we want to make sure that we're using that money correctly and wisely, and I'm going to make sure that my committee, our committee, a city does that, and we're using our money wisely and up to date, using new things, getting out there and doing researching and figuring out ways that we can use that money like other cities. And I also want to remind you that I'm also asking other people in other cities. I've talked to my friends at the city of Corpus Christi for them to give me formulas that they're using, my friends in Rockport to kind of see what they do and how they checks and balances it. THLA, which is Texas Hotel Lodging Association, they actually have lawyers that help me say, yeah, Renee, that's a practical way of looking at it, right?
Well, thank you.
Because
That's
we have to, again, get that structure in there, so that way we have smooth sailing.
And I think it makes it consistent when someone comes. It's not because, oh, this group has come so many years, let's go ahead and.
Right, it's
rank what they
unbiased,
want.
right? We're
Right,
talking about, again,
unbiased.
this is a math thing, it's a science thing. We just want to make sure that this fits into our interests too. I mean, how can we just keep on giving out money and then it not replenish? That's not good business,
Well,
right?
It should be our goal to get that 2,307 rooms in Aransas.
He's working
There
on
you
it.
go.
Yes,
I
yes,
am.
thank you.
Renee, do VRBOs pay a hotel motel?
No, so I'm glad we're talking about that, because I also sit on the zoning and planning committee, and we're also talking about adding like a fee and a tax to those people that are doing short-term rentals and rentals, so that way they're paying too, and Yeah, it's-
Rockport charges it, I know that
Rockport.
for a fact.
I know that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject, but I do have some short-term rentals that do submit their quarterly report to us. It's people that mostly sometimes that have stuff on like Airbnb, they're the ones that we're having a little issue. And we just-
there are definitely ones going under the radar, let's put it that way. So the thing is to make this really tight and say, okay, we can go out there and tax you or fee you, I guess that's a way to put it.
Fee you. Fee you.
I think we ought to find something for the RVers too, some kind of a tax that'll
Okay, so
go,
that's so funny
come
that
back
came up,
into that
because the
fund.
wood carvers had brought that to our attention. They're like, they put more room nights into RVs than they
RVs,
did.
yes.
But that, again, and the amount and the rate that RVs are growing too, these are another, like, as hoteliers, we see Airbnbs in the short time, what they say is a threat. But, I mean, there's a way for all this to work in unison, right? And I believe that is as well with the RVs. There has to be, and if you could figure out, and we could figure out a way to tax that, that's just more, I mean, and especially the way the city is going and the development is going, you're gonna really need that,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, great job.
So Sandra, are y'all on the short-term rentals, are you actually collecting those
We
taxes?
do collect from some, not all short-term rentals pay, are registered with the city to pay for their hotel motel tax. The ones that are registered with us do get a quarterly bill, quarterly report where they have to fill out and send them their payment to us here. Gary and I spoke about this morning or this afternoon, and we're gonna try to find a way in how we can go ahead and locate all of these under the radar.
Yeah.
People, I'm sure that there is some kind of business organization, I don't know, we're working on it, is what I'm gonna
Okay.
say. This is something that we just started talking about this afternoon on another different matter, not because of this, but we were talking about it. So we are gonna be working towards getting everybody registered and getting them to a point where we can send them their quarterly report, and they either submit that they had no sales they didn't have any tenants that month, those 3 months, or they're gonna submit their tax to us. It's just a pass-through cost, like anything else,
Right.
to the customer.
Right.
So, based on the calculations and on the math, the board is recommending, $3,000, for the wood carvers, not the 9,500 that they had initially requested, and they were explained the math just like Renee did the explanation to them, so that's what the board is recommending, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And even still, that 3,000 wood carvers, we're gonna be lucky, I mean, I had them this year at my property, I had quite a few of them, I had about 6 to 8 rooms. But, you know, I don't think they're affecting all the hotels. Again, that's another thing that we gotta keep in mind. Is it just one hotel that we get in a few rooms in, or everyone's getting a piece of the pie, and that's the objective.
So I have a question. How are we gonna track that? Are hotels, can they send that information? Are you here for a show? I don't know how we would be
So
tracked.
one thing that we have done is there's a follow-up
Okay.
application or a form that they have to basically go back in, and it's plug and play. So there'll be information, there'll be numbers that we'll be requesting, that where did you spend this money, how did this money come back? So then I think we have 30 days?
Yes, after 60 days after
60
the
days.
event, they have to come back after the event is completed and give an update to the board, to the hotel board. And then they bring us their numbers and they say, this is what we spent the money in, this is where our people stayed, these are the number of rooms. They may have stayed there with Renee, they may have stayed at Fairfield, and so forth. But yeah, they do have to bring us a follow-up report within 6 days of the event.
And that's brand spanking new.
Yeah, we just started that. We did
Because
never
you're
have
the
it
only one who
where
gives out hot
people
funds
came
that didn't
back
request
and
that.
reported. I think the first report that we
Well,
received
now
was
it's
the.
state law. According to THLA, I think something that went in this last year was that any hotel occupancy taxes can be, basically they can be audited from the state level too. So, you know, this puts another pressure onto us that if we don't have some type of way or reasoning to this, and we're just willy-nilly giving out money, it's gonna come back to us at one day and they're gonna say, hey, we wanna see how it went and where it went.
And this is probably the banker in me, how can you go back and verify?
There's a couple ways, you know, it would really take cooperation from our side too, the hotel side too, because it would be tracing. It's what we call tracing. So we know at a business level in the hotels, we can trace a reservation to say where it came from. Was it a walk-in? Was it, or an online reservation? So we can see all those things, but getting a hotel to do that would be your first line of fire cooperation. So we know that, okay, this is an organized, negotiated rate. So that's the other thing, is we need to work in ties with any event that comes in. Automatically, we need to give them a negotiated rate. That will help us trace it faster. So let's say, for example, you know, company XYZ wants to put an event. They come in, I say, okay, you need to get all hotels, not just one or two, all hotels have to give XYZ a company. They're holding an event, we're giving them the funds, and then when they go and have their event, we can see how many occurrences on that rate happen. So
Just
that
some way
way.
to kind of verify,
Yeah,
because
the
they can,
father rooms, like when you go to
Yeah, I understand.
Or a wedding and a negotiated rate, right? So they're all gonna say, I'm coming for XYZ group, and then
I
they're
know that,
negotiated.
for example, the Wood Carvers did business with you and Fairfield did, and they had a negotiated room rate at both hotels.
And a matter of fact, that was right at the $65, so that's exactly right again at the ADR.
not that people would make up numbers, but, you know, just,
Well, you never know, yeah, right.
But I mean, you have to look also, in the
Sure.
summer, we're in the 200s.
yes.
Just this past week, we were in the 200s, so, you know, from Fairfield down. So, you know, when you look at off-season, when you're in the 55s and 60s, you know, and you come out at the average, we are, some people say it's even higher, maybe even a $70 to $72 ADR. So there is a way that I will get that to and crunch that number down and make it more lean, so that way we are closer to the actual number, that I have to look at a hotel, I have to look at taxes, tax returns, and then I can get a figure out that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
what's, we're
Okay, well,
recommending,
so
we're
what is the,
recommending that.
what is the favor of the council on the hot fund for $3,000?
I make a motion that we grant the request for the Coastal Bend Wood Carvers, Inc. for 3,000 in hot funds.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Public safety, that must be Mr. Blanchard over there. Take her away, Eric.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, this item here is to enter basically into an agreement between the police department and the Texas State University for tobacco enforcement operation. We currently do tobacco and alcohol stings. This will give us funding to pay for the expense that we are out for this round of tobacco stings, and we would like to seek it with your approval.
So it'll be done just the same way you do your alcohol stings?
Yes, it'll be done the same way. The only difference is now it's paid for by an outside entity instead of the city.
What's the favor of the council?
I make a motion that we approve the police department to enter into interlocal cooperative agreement contract with the Texas State University for a tobacco enforcement operation.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we go to city council and staff announcements. Do we have any announcements?
There are a couple of announcements, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Council. First of all, I want to remind you and let you know, yeah, Rosemary's still here. The chamber is putting on a ribbon or a groundbreaking ceremony for Movies Inc. between the dealership out there and Butter Churn. It's right in that general area. It is at April 4th at 4 p.m. That's a Thursday. And you are invited to attend, as is everyone in the city. everyone in the county or beyond that even. But looking forward to your appearance there, and should be an interesting event. That's the groundbreaking ceremony. Just want to make you aware of that, and I believe the chamber has stuff out on that right now.
Yes, I have all of them. They were donated to Spirit of Aransas Pass for the water tower groundbreaking. They're gold shovels. How many did you say you needed? 20. Okay, because we found I think 11 of them. Or okay. You got it. They're all in my office. You can come and get them.
The second and final item I have is I want to emphasize the importance of what you heard here tonight on the audit. We heard from our financial advisor, and he wrote to us, I just reviewed your audit and wanted to congratulate you on your fine results. The general fund results were surely impressive, and he was thanking us for all the work that was done, and especially pointed out Sandra's involvement with that. So to have it finished at this early stage, working with the auditor and working with the finance department, and that general fund balance is something that was the reason for our meeting with S&P some time ago. So it's headed in the right direction. That's a significant event. I just want to point that out. That's all I have.
Congratulations.
Yes, great job. Okay, now we go to citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the City Council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Do we have any comments?
I actually have a comment that somebody asked me if I would please bring in public comments, because she is not quite ready to do it. Susan Hardison, her husband died on New Year's Day, and she would like to thank the police department, the fire department, and the EMS. She said that you guys were all outstanding and helped her get through a very difficult time, and she just wants to thank you all.
Nice job. There you go.
Oh.
Who are you?
Update on the Shrimpery grounds. I remember the last time I was in here in January, we talked about the conditions. Rosemary Vega, Chamber CEO. It is getting raked tomorrow of the debris that's left, and it's going to open that up for them to do the fertilizer, and they're going to use a Bermuda and I don't know what the other kind of grass is, but it's a fast-growing grass that they're going to put in, and then they're going to use a Bermuda that goes in on top of that, and hopefully that'll all be, we'll have some grass by the time the Shrimpery comes. I talked to Fernando about it, let him know they were going to be out there. The company that's going to do it is also going to be taking care of it, kind of making sure that it stays watered and moist. If for some reason it needs to be watered, Fernando says he can come out with the irrigation truck and water it from here till June. So hopefully we should have some grass back there by then.
Yay.
Yeah.
Would you please tell Rudy he was so worried about all that dirt?
I'll call him tonight
Okay,
when
thank
I
you.
leave. I also want to introduce y'all. Vicki Torres left AP for Youth. She was there for 7 years, and she left and relocated to San Antonio. And we now have Kelsey Durham, who's sitting with me right now. Today's her first day, and boy, I told her to wear boots.
Just wait.
And so she's with us now. She was a parent of the program. And up until now, she no longer can sit on our board because we have a board member that's a parent to give us the experience and feedback from a parent's perspective. She was a parent for 15 years, and so we'll be looking for a replacement for her from one of the parents. But I just wanted to let you meet her, and she's welcome to come up here and say anything she wants to. You want to know how you feel about Aransas? You know me, at least.
Hi. I think most of you might know me. Born and raised here in Aransas Pass, Kelsey Durham. I take part in Shrimpery whenever I can in events, and I've known Rosemary probably my whole life. We've done a lot of things together from Shrimpery down all the way down to AP for Youth. So this kind of got thrown in my lap. It was a last-minute thing. I was happy where I was in my job, but when it came about, I put faith over fear, and I'm like, let's do it. So yeah, I'm excited. So I have a lot of support, and I'm glad to be back in Aransas Pass. I was working in Rockport, so I'm here.
Wow,
So
we're excited for your enthusiasm,
Yes.
so yay.
I am very excited, and
Good.
my daughters helped me a lot too throughout the whole program.
Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
they're excited for me to be back over here too. So,
Good,
Welcome,
good for
welcome,
you,
welcome.
thank you so much. I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Cool, cool.
Mr. Ellis, Council, just please be advised, the local ministerial alliance under Reverend David Deere will be holding a Easter sunrise service at the Siemens Memorial Tower, 7 a.m. Easter morning.
Excellent, thanks.
Is that anybody else?
That's really cool.
Okay, now we'll go into executive session. Section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act relating to Calm Brown Harbor lease, Coast Point Company, and annexation proceedings. And the time now is 6:47.
We're talking about the restaurant and stuff.
Oh.
Let me find out.
What-
One thing at a time, Karen.
Okay, we come back to regular session at 7:45. And no action is necessary.
Therefore, I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I gotta get with you soon.